Hello friends, this video on transport in plants part 17 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. So with this concepts in mind, we can have a quick recap of the xylem transport. The story starts from the soil, which has lot of water, where we purposely put water. Whenever you are asked to water the plants in your garden, we tend to put water into the soil because we all know this mechanism that the roots can absorb the water from the soil and it can then transport it to the different parts of the plant. So it starts from soil. From soil, the water is absorbed by the root hairs. Root hairs are very thin walled. They are hair-like structures. And they are many in number. So they increase the rate of absorption. So once absorbed by the roots, it is then passed into the inner layers of roots and finally reaches the xylem of root. From there, it moves upwards due to root pressure as well as transpiration pull. So it gradually reaches the xylem of stem and finally reaches the leaves. So once it reaches the leaves, it also is able to reach the stomata of the leaves and finally evaporates out by the process of transpiration. And this process helps in transporting water to different parts of the plant. Now let us quickly look at the significance of transpiration. How is transpiration important? Now needless to say, it creates the transpiration pull, which is helpful for transporting water to different plant parts, because I already discussed about the significance of water. You do not water your plants for 3 to 4 days and the plant dies. So water is that important. So reaching water to different plant parts is equally important. So transpiration pull is important. It also transports dissolved minerals. Like when water is transported to different parts of the body, it also carries many dissolved nutrients and minerals with it. For example, how blood flows throughout our body. So within the blood, through the blood, many dissolved nutrients or waste materials, they get transported to the required sites inside our body. So similarly, through water also, many other dissolved substances can be transported. It provides water for photosynthesis. So if you see the process of transpiration, it actually tries to pull water from below and it makes them reach the leaves. And leaf is the area where photosynthesis takes place. For photosynthesis also we need water. We need water, sunlight, chlorophyll. So these are some of the things which are needed for photosynthesis. So water reaches the leaves because of the process of the transpiration pull. Because if transpiration pull is not there, water will never reach the leaf. It will take a huge time if only diffusion and root pressure are there in the picture. Both of them are very slow process. So it will take a huge time for the water to reach the leaves. So the plants will not be able to prepare food for a very long time and eventually they'll die. So transpiration plays a very important role for the plant to enable them to perform photosynthesis and prepare their food, and obviously in transport of water and other dissolved minerals and nutrients. So now we saw that how water is transported by xylem. So it is not only water which is present in the soil and which needs to be transported upwards to different parts of the plant. Minerals are also one thing which are present in soil and needs to be absorbed by the roots. So how are the minerals transported? Now uptake of minerals from soil into roots and then into xylem by active or passive transport. So now what happens basically is, when we talk about minerals, whether we are talking about nitrogen, phosphorus or sulfur, minerals are present as ions in the soil. So they are present in the form of ions in the soil. So ions are charged particles. So they are hydrophilic in nature. So they cannot move across the concentration gradient by itself. So they need either facilitated diffusion, or if their concentration is less in the soil, then they might need active transport. So that ways they need to be taken up by the roots, right? Because they cannot directly pass through the membrane. Now if the concentration of minerals is high in the root than in the soil, because roots already keep absorbing minerals. So roots already are very rich in minerals, but still they don't want to lose those minerals. So that is why the minerals are taken up by active transport. So even if the concentration of minerals is higher in the roots than in the soil, but still by additional expenditure of energy, the carrier proteins transport the minerals from the soil into the roots. However, for some specific minerals which are allowed to pass through the membrane, which are not hydrophilic in nature, they can move into it through passive diffusion, provided it depends on the type of minerals we are talking about. So by any of these means, these minerals can enter into the roots. Now once they have reached into the roots, then what happens? Then they can also be carried by water as dissolved substances by the process of by the same process as water was transmitted. So basically here the catch is only for the uptake of minerals. The uptake of minerals will happen either by active transport if the concentration of the minerals in the soil is less than that in the roots. It will happen by facilitated diffusion if the concentration in the soil is greater and the mineral can move across the concentration gradient. So minerals are translocated through transpiration pull along with water. So once uptake of mineral into the roots is done, so once the minerals have reached the roots, after that it will be transported along with water by the same concept of transpiration pull and root pressure, and that is how minerals will also reach to different parts of the plant. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more videos, attempt free online test, get free study material, find tutors and mentors. Thank you once again.